Bonjour, mon amis, et les argent. I've been recently just looking around the internet, and I saw an article talking about how hardcore gamers don't matter anymore. I might put a link to the description to it. And it was, it pretty much said the reasons behind that for being pretty much what you would expect from someone that shared this ideology. And that is that fact that you have these big name franchises that have large followings and can make so much money within literally matters of hours. But the thing is, though, is that I just not only disagree with this, but I can prove that it's not the case. Hardcore gamers not only matter, but they've always mattered. But I'm not going to say that hardcore gamers are more important than casual gamers. Casual gamers are unfortunately a necessary evil. Hardcore gamers are going to be where a majority of your money comes from. And I think that the larger problem with the whole hardcore versus casual gamer mindset is the idea of video games being being distorted to modern mindsets. What I mean by this, you see this often in the families where there's like one kid that plays video games and the rest of them don't. And the other ones that do, besides that one kid, play games like Candy Crush and Angry Bird, stupid ass shit that is never meant to be taken seriously. And that's fine. There's a lot of games that are like that many people can play. I've played those games, can play those games, but I mean, they're not the games that define me. When I walk out the door, when I pick up another fighting game or another video game in general, I don't think about the next downloadable mobile game, which is a booming industry, but at the same time, those games are not going to have the same elements that console games, especially JRPGs, they're not going to have that same sense of presentation or imaginatory mindset. It's not going to be inspiring. It's not really going to be memorable, especially whenever the design of the game is solely focused on leaderboards and multiplayer. How many times can you tell and talk with your friends about how you got 3 headshots in a row in the next crappy Call of Duty game? Those stories are not going to be as memorable as, well, I remember getting to this boss in this game and it had me thinking it was the last boss, and they beat the shit out of me, and it took me 2 weeks to actually finish it, and for me to finally beat them and realize that the game's not over. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to have those conversations. What characters are going to be in these games? Those conversations are not going to occur. Now, not only is the mindset of games distorted, people, they don't understand them. So, as a result, a lot is lost in the larger scheme of things. People don't see everything completely. They only see the little bit of the picture. But I think the biggest problem is the fact that they make games solely targeted towards a demographic. And I don't just mean because, we're making it for the fans or anything like that. No, I mean like they make it for the hardcore gamers, and then they make it for the casual gamers. And, you get games like that. Resident Evil 6 being a prime example. I mean, Capcom literally admitted that they were trying to cash in on the Call of Duty fans to play this game. And, the biggest problem with Resident Evil 6, many people have said it, but I'll say it again, it was a game that they made to try to please everyone. And in the process, they made a game that pleases no one. Largely being that the reason because of the main producers and designers leaving that company before that game's completion. Yeah, that being one of the biggest reasons why the game is not that great. But even still, this game was mostly about gimmicks and trinkets and a lot of other bullshit on the side. So as a result, it's no surprise that this game was crap. But they made it with the mindset of it being, this is a casual game. And, Resident Evil was never a casual game. People that play Mario religiously are not going to go over to Resident Evil and proclaim it and forsake all others before it. It's not going to happen. It's a game that has a cult following, just like the old Silent Hill games. Really, before Silent Hill 4, which you can say what you will, it was a little weird, but it wasn't a bad game. Before Silent Hill 4, that series had a cult following, but after that, the games afterwards haven't been all that great. Homecoming and Downpour, and then the new one coming out, going to be on the PlayStation Vita, and then going to be multiplayer. I'm not liking where that's going. They need to make a next gen Silent Hill and leave it at that, and maybe that series will pick up. But as long as they keep making games designed for one category of consumers, then there's always going to be this dividing line. There's always going to be this mindset of hardcore gamers versus casual gamers, and no side is more important than the other. You know, I proclaim myself as an old school gamer. I play games that were a little harder, and mostly from the standpoint that while I'm also a hardcore gamer, you have to know something about these games to really truly appreciate them, no matter what games they are. Now, there are some games that, yeah, you're like, okay, this game is garbage, this game's crap, and you just move on to something else. But, you know, if you don't understand why these games are bad, then your opinion is flawed. You know, a lot of people gave me flack for having my opinion about Killer Instinct. And like, oh, how can you say that about this game? And it's like, look, people, I've been playing games for several years. I've taken a look at this game as much as I possibly can and have given it a chance, and do not want to hate this game or dislike this game, but this game is not fucking offering anything that's worth mentioning or that's attractive enough to me to buy this game, let alone a whole system, and sign up on board for all the bullshit DLC, which so far what I can see is over 10 characters. No thank you. I think I'll fucking pass. But with hardcore gamers, there are not many hardcore games left for hardcore gamers. There's like a few of them, but I mean, they're part of long-running series from old developers. So, I mean, casual gaming kind of not necessarily dominates things, but I think all of the hardcore gaming has now gone into the indie market of gaming now, and that's pretty much the future of things. It's going to an all-digital market. I don't like it. I'm somebody that likes to have physical copies of the game in my hand. Sometimes I'll make rare exceptions, but hey, that's pretty much how I feel about that whole ordeal. They're going to have to start making games that appeals to everyone. Because I really think that right now, hardcore gamers, there's a combination of hardcore gamers and casual gamers being the reason why there's even still a video game market, and a lot of people are even thinking that this might be the last generation of console games. And really and truthfully, right now, there are no killer apps for either system that attract me enough to buy either one of them. Yeah, the PS4 may be the better choice in my opinion, but there are no games. The ones that are for the PS4, they may have a few exclusive games, but you know, I can live without Ninja Frame and that sort of thing. There may be the Order 842 and, you know, the new Thief game, but that's not going to be exclusive. Same with Metal Gear Solid 5 and Kingdom Hearts 3. They're not going to be exclusive games. Watch Dogs being another one. They're not going to be exclusive games. They're going to be for the PS3. I got a PS3, and I'm ready to rock with these fucking games. I'm not going to buy a whole system. I don't care enough about graphics enough to get a whole system for just a handful of games. And I just recently bought a PS3 on top of that, so I'm putting it to use and playing all the games that were exclusive for it that I was interested in the past. I mean, I bought a 360 first many years ago, and I stand by that opinion. And you know, it served me well, but it's not without its problems. And the PS3 is the better system overall in the end. Had a slow start by comparison of the 360, which hit the ground running and learned from its mistakes. And from what I can see, Sony has learned from all the mistakes that they made with the PS3 by not only making it so that developing each system is cheaper, but also it's more developer friendly as opposed to the cell processor in the PS3. So the PS4 is looking pretty solid, and then plus it's cheaper too, and Microsoft keeps getting caught up in their own lies and bullshit and shady dealings with Machinima and blah 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 blah. I mean, I would be surprised if more bad news was revealed in like a month's time. I'm calling it now. Mark my words, there's going to be some more bad news about Microsoft pretty soon. So yeah, I suggest for people that are either hardcore gamers or casual gamers, please stop arguing amongst yourselves of which is more important. You are both equally just as important, and it's not so much about what type of games are being made. It's, you know, what games are being made for category. It's about what type of games. It's not this bandwagon mentality. Oh, like I'm here, I'm there. No. I like to enjoy many different types of games. There's no one category of game that I enjoy above the rest. Well, actually, there is. There's good games. I like good games. If there weren't so many bad games, which I was not and will not be a fan of, if there weren't so many bad games, then maybe I wouldn't have a problem with the game industry the way it is now. But I'm kind of that's the thing about games nowadays. And at least there's plenty of good games that I can go back and play on systems like the Super Nintendo and the Genesis and the PlayStation 1 and the GameCube. Those systems were solid. They had nice rosters of games, and even the original Xbox had some interesting games like Indigo Theory, if I'm not mistaken, if that was the name of it. And then there was Deadly Premonition. Not necessarily that wasn't on the Xbox, but there's a lot of old games that I suggest people try out if you are a quote unquote gamer, because I think that the definition of gamer is really being miscued and messed up, because they want to take a poll and say that, oh well, most gamers are female. In reality, if even that were true, most of them play mobile games that take no effort to play, games that have no real semblance other than, oh well, look at this, it's simple to play, and pick up and play controls is cool, and the convenience of it being in the palm of your hand and your little smartphone is cool. But that doesn't define you as a gamer. I'm sorry. Even as a casual gamer, to me, a casual gamer is somebody that plays games that are a little more seamless, but at the same time have a bit more substance than being, oh, well, it's 99 cents to play. Chances are, if you're playing games that cost that much, they're probably not worth that much in the end anyway. And then look at Angry Birds overcharging their customers and whatnot. Things are going to have to change if we expect another console and next generation of consoles. Because really and truthfully, if you ask me, I don't think we need any more generations of consoles. I think we've had enough. I think we have enough. I think I've had enough. I think we've got enough. Instead of making systems, I think it's time for us to focus on making some good games. And say, fuck new systems for a good little while, if we expect this industry to keep going. Because otherwise, it's just going to be about running things into the ground. We're not going to be able to appreciate anything if they're going to be making a sequel of it every year, or a DLC of it, a pack of it next week. Things have got to change, people. It's not about casual gamers, it's not about hardcore gamers, it's about the future of gaming itself. And if it ends, then well, fuck it. I would be sad to see it to go. But hardcore gamers are important too. We never stop being important. And casual gamers, get off your high horse and wake up. Play the games you've been missing out on. Put crappy Call of Duty down. And realize that, yeah, there are better shooters out there. There are far more interesting games other than shooters out there that you should give a try. Argent au revoir, merci mon amis. To much of my delight.